Hi, you have reached our customer service department. Please press 1 for English, 2 for Spanish, and 3 if you prefer Icelandic.
Icelandic? Who picks Icelandic? All right. For Pete's sake, I better get a human this time or I'm going to cut somebody.
I heard that, sir. Press 1 to apologize, 2 to give me the finger, 3 to stick your finger where the sun doesn't shine, or 4 to go home and get your shine box.
What the hell? All I want to do is return this K-bar knife I bought back in 2022. What kind of options are these? What shit is this?
Okay, then, sir. Press 1 to get in line to speak with an agent. You are the 666th customer. Your wait time is expected to be 4 to 6 hours.
666 customers. This has got to be a joke. How the hell do you get 666 customers? Like, am I like the mark of the beast by calling into this customer? This is such horseshit. I'm out. I don't have all day to wait for this. I'm the mark of the beast.
Oh, no! No! No!
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Good to see you. And if you're new to the channel, have no fear. We got you. Just hang on tight. We're going to take a little white knuckle trip with me today to talk about some true crime. And this video, though, will be less than 666 seconds or 11 minutes and 6 seconds, or it will be free. And no other creator on YouTube will offer you such a guarantee like that. Now, don't forget, real quick, please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done that, and give a comment at the end. It helps get the video out there to more people. So I appreciate all of you that do that. When it comes to the case of the Idaho 4, most of us that have been following it are just about punch drunk when it comes to, where do we go from here? Just kind of almost sick of it. And as a creator, it's certainly on my mind because I have to strike the balance between satisfying you guys as an audience and what interests me to drive on and continue producing that. And if I'm not into it, you're not probably going to like the content because I won't be behind it. So it needs to work. Now, as I've stated before, I will continue to cover the Idaho 4 case. There are still so many things that we just don't know. And in true Idaho 4 fashion, the more information they give us, the more questions that we have, right? They just don't make sense. And that hasn't changed. And I'm sure most of you probably in that boat with me, if, we all tend to agree here. But there's always dissension, and I welcome that in the chat. You still have to, be civil about it, though, like we always say. But, I'll be talking about other cases, and for those of you that aren't going to keep following the Idaho 4, I urge you to check out some of my other content I'll be doing on the Long Island serial killer and the Flora 4 case and others as well, but still be doing Idaho 4, just not as much. Now, I've been watching some of the content out there on the new documents that have been dropping. Some of it seems very interesting, while other parts just put me to sleep. And I just can't shake the feeling that this case was just a pure fabrication for us to follow around while some bigger thing was being covered up. It just feels that way. Now, I mentioned it in a live last night that my own mother, who didn't follow the Idaho 4 really, watched the sentencing, and she actually she called me after it was over, and the first thing she told me, and this is without any influence whatsoever from me, it's just her reaction. She said the whole thing seemed like it was fake. That was the first sentence out of her mouth. So it is very strange that that would be the first thing you'd come away with being new to the case. Very interesting, because I also thought it seemed fake. Like I think most all of this stuff that we look at in this case is some sort of act. It doesn't seem real. People don't react the way you would expect them to react. It's just off. Something's off with it. And it feels like an episode of like Black Mirror or something like that. I'm telling you. But, these are, it's like watching amateur actors in a small community theater putting on a performance. The writing, awkward, unrealistic. The characters are flat. We never got to fully understand what was going on in that house that led to these crimes happening. It was as if it just happened out of the blue, but as we all know, that's not what happened here. I mean, something led up to this, and it had to be a palpable fear in that house, and we just never got that from the limited information we were given. I refuse to believe that BK was driving around Moscow and decided to storm that house with a knife. It makes zero sense, and definitely not with 6 cars in the parking lot. Now, I'm anxious to get my questions answered, as I'm sure you are, but I fear that that's just not going to happen here, especially the questions I have with Dylan and Bethany. I mean, no matter who did these crimes, whether it was BK or Ronald McDonald doing it, the fact that there's some sort of nonsense going on in that house surrounding that morning of the crimes, it doesn't explain away the rest of it. So just because we now assume that it's BK because he pled that way and he said it in court, so we have to go with what he says. But I think a lot of us have some reservation there. But even that aside, it doesn't forgive the actions of Dylan and Bethany that morning, acting super suspicious. Now, I feel that Dylan put on a pretty good show at that sentencing hearing. It was a very self-centered rant that produced plenty of sobbing, but I'm not sure if she was, really performing or crying. Why wasn't she sobbing and crying that morning right after she saw a man in her house or when she saw Xana laying on the floor? I mean, why didn't she call 911? That eternal question with this case. She was answering to someone that told her not to call, if you ask me. I'm going to guess that that last call she made to her father could have very likely been the call that said, go ahead and call him now. I'm just saying that's my speculation. I'm not saying anybody's guilty. I'm just saying that that's the feel I get there. Now, I did hear that Kaylee's Range Rover wasn't actually in her name, but some guy in Washington State. And that certainly opens up some questions. I mean, wasn't that her car or was it a gift from someone? Was this some sort of relationship that we didn't know about? And that's maybe what could have led to a meltdown from old Jack Decor. It also could have been a harmless detail about the way she leased it. Who knows? We've been able to see the dates of the various police officers in Moscow that wrote their reports. So some were done a day or two later, but others, like for Brett Payne, were months later. Months later. How do you possibly write a report about things like interaction with witnesses, crime scene visits, gathering evidence, researching, and doing all the things you do day in and day out when you're doing it months later? I mean, I used to have to write building inspection reports for my day job before I retired, and I can tell you that even with notes, I wouldn't be able to accurately tell the story months down the road. I often tried to do as much of the report while I was on site before I even left in case I had a question. Now, the name Michael Van Leuven from the old Idaho State Police was on some of the documents I saw, and he brings up the memories of that incident in Bonners Ferry, Idaho, that I'm sure the state of Idaho would rather forget about, involving Dr. Moore. If you're not familiar with that case, check out Dr. Moore, Bonners Ferry, and you'll find all you want to find. But Van Leuven was one member of that team, the other being Gary Tolleson, the man who you can't even find a picture of on the internet right now, conducted an interrogation of Dr. Moore and refused him an attorney multiple times, manipulated witnesses, did all sorts of shady stuff. And these are the people that the state of Idaho decided were the best of the bunch to work on the biggest case in their state history. Wow. Now, another thing that comes to mind, while I support police officers who do the right thing and protect us, I can't ignore when you speculate on whether any of the police department might have been on the take with all the party favors coming through that town. Now, dealers routinely pay for police to keep their distance and let that money keep flowing. Now, think about the members of the Moscow Police Department that no longer work there or retired soon after the crimes happened. I mean, was it because of the stress of the job? Or were they just ready to go? Or was it because maybe they just wanted to change the scenery and get away from the spotlight of an investigation? I mean, this is just speculation, but, Chief Fry, Captain Lanier, Brett Payne, and Rosenthal all left the department soon after this happened. So I'm just saying. So what do you guys think? Drop a comment below. It helps the channel and lets me check out what you think, what your thoughts are. Don't miss my next live. That's this Sunday, July 27th. Doing a true crime double feature. I'm going to be talking about the Long Island serial killer and the Flora 4, both in that one live. So if you're new to either of those cases, join us. If you know a lot about those cases, join us anyway, because your input would be great. Love to get everybody's feedback on these cases. Very fascinating. Both of them are really good, interesting things to discuss. I'd like to thank the membership here at the channel, the Horns High Club, the Mayhem Squad. You guys are fantastic, and I appreciate all of you that watch these videos. And don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and comment below, and I'll see you next time.